As a Christian who became Muslim, there's one story in the Bible and the Quran that had a huge impact on me. In the Bible, in Genesis 22, God calls out to Abraham, telling him to sacrifice his son. Verse 3 says, "Early the next morning, Abraham got up and loaded his donkey. He took with him 2 of his servants and his son." The Bible says Isaac, but that's a different discussion. Verse 5, he said to his servants, "Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship and then we will come back to you." So he knows he's planning to sacrifice his son, but he lies to his servant saying, "We'll both come back to you." In verse 6, Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son. He himself carried the fire and the knife. As the 2 of them went on together, Isaac spoke up and said to his father, "Father?" "Yes, my son," Abraham replied. "The fire and wood are here, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham answered, "God himself will provide the lamb for the offering." So again, another deception. Imagine a boy going with his father thinking they're about to sacrifice and worship God together. He's even having his son carry the wood for his own slaughter. Then in verse 9, Abraham builds an altar and places the wood on it. It says he bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son, but the angel called out. So we see a story with no love, no compassion, no reasoning, just blindly following a vision, deceiving everyone around him to make it happen. Isn't this the exact opposite of what Christians preach today? Don't they say Muslims are the ones who lie and deceive to spread their religion? Now let's look at the same story from the Quran. In Surah Safat, starting in verse 102, when the boy reached the age to work with him, Abraham said, "Oh, my dear son, I've seen in a dream that I must sacrifice you, so tell me what you think." He replied, "Oh, my dear father, do as you're commanded. Allah willing, you'll find me steadfast." Then, when they submitted to Allah's will, and Abraham laid him on the side of his forehead for sacrifice, we called out to him. Notice how they submitted together. Abraham didn't deceive anyone. Though it was a command from God, he understood that he doesn't have the authority to take a life. So Abraham went to his son and asked him what he thinks. When I read this as a Christian, beginning to explore Islam for the first time, my eyes literally filled with tears. As a father, I could never imagine harming my son. Abraham knew this was a command from God, but he was a tender-hearted man. This must have been incredibly heavy for him. So he went to his son, and his son was also clearly willing to obey God. No lies, no deception, no blindly following, just a real human, a loving father with a soft heart and a desire to please God. So which one sounds more realistic? Which one sounds more like a man chosen by God to be a great prophet and to be the father of many nations, the father of our religions?